Beneath the familiar beauty of Australia lies a world of ancient secrets and terrifying encounters. Imagine vast, silent landscapes where the air crackles with unseen energy. Here, in the heart of the wilderness, cryptids roam, creatures that defy explanation and challenge our understanding of the natural world. Dare to explore the stories, the evidence, and the chilling reality of Australia's most elusive beings. In the vast Australian outback, something leaves massive three-toed tracks in the red earth. Our first Australian cryptid, the locals call it Burrunjor. Since the 1950s, this reptilian giant has terrorized cattle stations, leaving behind shattered bones and inexplicable wounds. Truckers on the lonely Stewart Highway report glimpses of what shouldn't exist. A creature that walks on two legs, towers 20 feet tall, and moves with prehistoric grace. Imagine yourself driving across this parched land, the sun beating down. The Stewart Highway stretches ahead like a heat-warped ribbon. Your truck's tires hum against the asphalt. The only sound besides the air conditioning's drone. Then something moves in your peripheral vision. A flash of scale and sinew, gone before your mind can process its impossible size. But the shadow it casts across your cab is undeniable. Witnesses describe a creature ripped from the nightmares of prehistory. A living dinosaur. It stalks the lonely stretches of this ancient land. Reports of the Burrunjor began with the cattlemen who knew the outback intimately. These hardened men saw a disturbing pattern unfold. The morning light would reveal a scene of unimaginable horror. The sweet, metallic stench of blood would hang heavy in the air, a thick miasma attracting swarms of flies that buzzed and crawled over the carnage. Livestock lay mutilated, their bodies bearing wounds unlike anything inflicted by known predators. Bones were shattered, crushed by unimaginable force. Animals were found torn in two, a terrifying display of raw power. And then there were the tracks. Immense, three-toed imprints, far too large for any recognized animal, the first evidence of a creature of extraordinary size and weight moving on two legs. Near Lagoon Creek in 1961, a part Aboriginal tracker, whose senses were finely attuned to the bush, had a chilling encounter. He didn't just see the creature, he felt its presence. A towering 25-foot-tall reptile moving through the scrub with an unnatural bipedal gait. The tracker, deeply connected to the land and its stories, recognized the creature from ancient tales. The Burrunjor, a being as old as the land itself. He knew that these lands were sacred to the creature, a place where it could slip through time windows and disappear at will. Years later, in 1985, a family driving near the Roper River had their own encounter. They described a 20-foot-long behemoth, its body covered in feathers, a detail that adds an eerie authenticity to their account, as it predates the scientific understanding that many dinosaurs were indeed feathered. The creature moved with a fluid grace, its muscles rippling beneath its skin as it stalked through the undergrowth. The outback, in its vastness, has yielded tangible evidence of the Burrunjor. Between the spinifex clumps and ghost gums, between the gibber plains and the red sand ridges of the Simpson Desert, the tracks appear. These colossal prints, some spanning 2 to 3 feet, are etched deep into the sun-baked earth, far too large and distinct to belong to any known animal. Locals, all too familiar with these ominous signs, call the creature Old Three Toes. In Victoria, Aboriginal peoples knew this same theropod as the Murra-Muri, but the most gruesome evidence comes from the cattle mutilations. The first rays of dawn would illuminate a scene of unspeakable horror. The ground, churned and scarred, would be slick with blood. The air, thick with the metallic tang of death, would vibrate with the buzzing of flies. Carcasses lay ripped apart, bones splintered, organs missing. The sheer brutality of these attacks, sometimes with multiple cows slain at a single site, suggests a predator of unparalleled strength, easily capable of overpowering even the largest livestock. These scenes, stumbled upon by horrified cattlemen, are gruesome testaments to the Burrunjor's raw power. The Burrunjor is woven into the very fabric of Aboriginal Australia. For countless generations, stories of this predatory reptile have been passed down. Its existence is real to them as the red dirt beneath their feet. Aboriginal cultures have stories of the Burrunjor, their oral traditions painting it as a fearsome predator, a creature of the night that hunts kangaroos, camels, and even cattle. Some describe it as a massive reptile with scaly skin and razor-sharp teeth, an image both powerful and terrifying. This knowledge is etched into the very stone of the outback. Aboriginal rock art portrays a creature with 3 toes, a bipedal stance, a pointed tail, small arms, and a large tooth-filled mouth. These depictions, found across Australia, are distinct from their renderings of kangaroos and other known animals. One notable example exists in the Kimberley region of Western Australia, part of the world's earliest rock art dating back to the last ice age. To Aboriginal people, the Burrunjor is more than just a creature of fear. It represents a connection to a distant past when such beings roamed the earth. It's a reminder of the power and mystery that still exists in the untamed corners of the world. Mari, South Australia, the gateway to the Outback, has embraced the Burrunjor, not just as a local legend, but as a symbol of the region's untamed spirit. Tourists flock to this dusty town, drawn by the promise of exploring a land where the past refuses to die, and where a creature of prehistoric proportions might still roam. The Bunyip, our second Australian cryptid, lurks in the murky depths of swamps and billabongs. Imagine a moonless night in the heart of the Outback. The humid air hangs heavy, thick with the stench of decaying vegetation and the chorus of croaking frogs. A blood-curdling roar erupts across the still water, sending ripples through the reeds. Suddenly, the reeds part, and a pair of eyes burning like crimson coals pierce the oppressive darkness. Aboriginal elders tell stories of the Bunyip, not just as a fearsome predator, but as a powerful spirit being, a guardian of the waterways, and a keeper of ancient knowledge. They say the Bunyip is drawn to the scent of blood and the sound of careless laughter, a reminder that those who disrespect the land and its creatures will face its wrath. One tale tells of a group of hunters who, after a successful day, carelessly discarded the remains of their kill into a billabong. As they slept that night, the Bunyip emerged from the depths, its eyes glowing with fury. The next morning, only their empty camp remained, a chilling testament to the creature's swift and merciless justice. The Bunyip is often depicted as a behemoth with dark, shaggy fur. Some accounts describe a canine-like face, its maw filled with razor-sharp teeth. Its powerful limbs are said to end in clawed hands, leaving deep gouges in the soft earth along the banks. A thick, crocodile-like tail propels it through the water with terrifying speed. Ancient Aboriginal carvings, etched into weathered rock faces, depict the Bunyip with an emu-like head, a serrated bill, and an alligator's body. These carvings, imbued with the wisdom of generations, serve as a tangible link to the past and a testament to the enduring power of the Bunyip legend. In 1846, a strange skull unearthed near the Murrumbidgee River caused a sensation across the colonies. Newspapers proclaimed the discovery of the Bunyip skull, fueling expeditions into the Outback in search of the elusive creature. Aboriginal people warned that disturbing the skull would bring bad luck, but their warnings went unheeded. Was it truly the remains of the creature, or just a strange anomaly? Years later, in 1941, a group of friends enjoying a peaceful fishing trip near Dynavore Lakes were suddenly confronted by a terrifying sight. A black head emerged from the water, its eyes glowing like embers in the twilight. They described a creature the size of a small boat, with a serpentine neck and a gaping maw filled with teeth. Panic-stricken, they scrambled back to their car, the creature's guttural growls pursuing them. Decades later, in the 1960s, the Burrowang Bunyip terrorized a small town with its earth-shaking roar, a sound that reverberated through the valleys and rattled the windows of every home, night after night. People barricaded themselves indoors, afraid to venture out after dark. Livestock disappeared from the edges of the swamp, their bones later found picked clean and scattered amongst the reeds. A group of brave locals organized a hunting party, determined to put an end to the creature's reign of terror, but they found no trace of the beast. In the mid-19th century, Aboriginal people spoke of a bunyip that was speared near Fiery Creek after attacking a man, a chilling reminder of the creature's potential for violence. The bunyip, like the land itself, holds many secrets. Is it a misidentified animal, a relic of Australia's prehistoric past, or a creature of the supernatural? From the pages of Jenny Wagner's The Bunyip of Berkeley's Creek to the haunting melodies of the Bunyip Song, this creature continues to capture our imaginations, reminding us that some mysteries may never be solved. The Yowie, our third Australian cryptid, is a hulking figure that haunts the deepest reaches of the bush. Imagine the sun sinking below the horizon, casting long shadows that dance and twist through the dense eucalyptus trees. A branch snaps underfoot, and a guttural growl rips through the stillness. You turn to see a towering figure covered in coarse, reddish-brown fur, its large red mouth agape, revealing two prominent canines, tusks, some say, that protrude like those of a boar. Its eyes, dark and intelligent, lock onto yours, and a shiver runs down your spine. This is the Yowie, a creature that has walked the land for centuries. Aboriginal stories depict the Yowie as a guardian of the wilderness, a creature of immense power and mystery. They tell of a being that can mimic human voices, luring unsuspecting travelers deeper into the bush, where the trees grow thick and the sunlight struggles to penetrate. They speak of its terrifying roar that boomerangs through the valleys, a warning to those who disrespect the land and its creatures. Early European settlers, too, recorded encounters with this elusive being, their journals filled with tales of a tall, hairy figure that vanished as quickly as it appeared, leaving behind only a lingering sense of unease and the pungent odor of musk. A grainy photograph from 1936 shows a shadowy figure lurking amongst the trees, its eyes gleaming in the darkness. The photographer, a young man named Robert Kenneth Brown, claimed to have been exploring a remote area of the Blue Mountains when he stumbled upon the creature. He described feeling a sense of dread wash over him as he snapped the photo, the creature's gaze seeming to pierce his very soul. Years later, in 2014, a video captures a Yowie reaching for apples left on a rock, its massive frame and talon-like claws illuminated by infrared light. The footage, captured by a motion-activated camera, shows the creature moving with surprising agility, its muscles rippling beneath its thick fur. The person who set up the camera, a seasoned bushman named Dean Harrison, described feeling a mix of excitement and fear when he reviewed the footage, knowing he had captured something truly extraordinary. A year later, a thermal camera captures two 9-foot-tall figures moving through the darkened bushland, their heat signatures undeniable. The witnesses, a group of researchers investigating reports of strange activity in the area, watched in stunned silence as the figures moved silently through the trees, their forms shimmering in the heat-sensitive lens. The encounter left them shaken, convinced that they had witnessed something beyond the realm of known science. Sightings continue to surface. In 2019, a father hiking with his family in the Burrunjor area photographs a large, shadowy figure lurking in the undergrowth. The photo, taken on a whim, captures the creature in mid-stride, its long arms swinging by its sides. The father, a skeptic turned believer, described feeling a wave of primal fear wash over him as he realized what he had captured on film. That same year, a Google Street View camera, its unblinking eye capturing the mundane details of everyday life, inadvertently records an abnormally tall figure standing amongst the trees in Tambourine Mountain. The figure, its form blurred and distorted by the camera's technology, seems to materialize out of thin air, its presence both unsettling and intriguing. A few months later, a YouTuber exploring the depths of Sunny Corner Pine Forest captures footage of glowing eyes peering from the shadows. Even in 2024, the Yowie continues to be spotted. Two images surface on social media, depicting a hairy humanoid figure walking along a desolate beach in Victoria. Could this be evidence of a creature adapting to a changing world, forced out of its natural habitat by encroaching civilization? Or is it just another trick of the light, a figment of our collective imagination? The Yowie embodies the wild heart of Australia, a land of vast spaces and ancient mysteries. The Yowie story, woven into Aboriginal lore and modern encounters, continues to capture our imaginations, inviting us to explore the boundaries between the known and the unknown. From the terrifying encounters in the film Throwback to the lighthearted portrayal in Scooby-Doo and The Legend of the Vampire, the Yowie has become a fixture of Australian popular culture, a symbol of the enduring mystery and wonder of the wilderness. The Junjudee, our fourth Australian cryptid, is a creature of the shadows, a diminutive figure that flits through the dense undergrowth of the Outback. Imagine the sun setting over the vast expanse of the Australian bush, casting long shadows that dance and distort amongst the gum trees. A rustle in the undergrowth catches your attention. You glimpse a small, hairy figure darting between the trees, its eyes large and luminous, seeming to pierce the darkness. An impish grin curls its lips. This is the Junjudee, a creature of Aboriginal legend, sometimes known as the Yowie's little brother. Aboriginal stories depict the Junjudee as a trickster, a creature of mischief and mayhem. It delights in playing pranks on unsuspecting travelers, stealing their belongings and leading them astray in the labyrinthine bush, where the air hangs heavy with the scent of damp earth and eucalyptus. But the Junjudee is more than just a mischievous spirit. It's a guardian of the wilderness, a protector of the land and its creatures. In 1979, four teenagers were exploring an abandoned mineshaft, their laughter echoing through the damp tunnels. Suddenly, a 3-foot-tall primate leaped from a rocky ledge, its screech piercing the silence. The teenagers scrambled back in terror as the creature pelted them with stones, its fury echoing in the confines of the mine. One of the rocks smashed the windscreen of their car, a stark reminder of the creature's surprising strength. Years earlier in the 1960s, a logger working in the Great Dividing Range west of Tully, Queensland, reported seeing Junjudee several times. He described them as small, hairy figures with long limbs, often seen scampering through the trees or peering curiously from behind bushes. One night, he and his brother were sleeping in their bush hut, the sounds of the forest lulling them to sleep. Suddenly, a small, hairy man crashed through the window, its eyes glowing menacingly in the darkness. The brothers wrestled with the creature, its strength surprising for its size, until it finally broke free and leaped back out the window, disappearing into the night. In 1982, a military training exercise in the rainforest north of Tully turned into a cryptic encounter. Soldiers, exhausted from days of trekking through dense vegetation, stumbled upon a small, rectangular mat woven from chewed calamus leaves. Could this be a Junjudee nest, evidence of a creature that blurs the lines between human and ape? 3 years later, in the same region, another group of soldiers witnessed a strange, hairy creature rubbing itself against a tree, its long arms reaching high up the trunk. It stood on its hind legs, stared at the soldiers with its small eyes and large mouth, and then vanished into the thick undergrowth. In 1985, a group of boys were camping in Royal National Park, their laughter and chatter filling the night air. As they settled down for the night in their cabin, a series of blood-curdling screams and guttural growls erupted from the darkness. Fear gripping their hearts, they shone their flashlights into the bush, catching sight of a creature with a large head, a flat face, and wide red eyes staring back at them. The creature let out a piercing scream and disappeared into the night, leaving the boys trembling in fear. Even in 2015, encounters with the Junjudee continued. An Aboriginal woman camping near Alice Springs awoke to the sound of rustling in the dry scrub. She described seeing a 3-foot-tall humanoid with a gorilla-like face, black hair and long arms. It muttered gibberish, its voice a strange mix of grunts and clicks, before fleeing with a high-pitched scream that echoed through the vast emptiness of the Outback. The Junjudee is a creature that challenges our understanding of the natural world. From the depths of the Tulara State Forest near Gympie to the rugged landscapes of Burrunjor and the ancient rainforests of North Stradbroke Island, the Junjudee continues to capture our imaginations. The drop bear, our 5th Australian cryptid, is not real, or so they say. This killer koala is said to lurk high in the eucalyptus canopy, waiting to pounce on unsuspecting tourists, sinking its razor-sharp claws and teeth into their flesh. But here's the kicker. A smear of Vegemite behind the ear supposedly wards off these savage beasts. A ridiculous notion, of course, but one that has become inextricably linked to the legend. What if the drop bear legend is rooted in something far more ancient and terrifying than a mere mutated koala? What if, hidden deep within the unexplored corners of the Australian wilderness, the thylacoleo, the marsupial lion, still lurks? The drop bear, sometimes known by the scientific name Thylarctos plumatus, is described as a larger, more menacing version of its cuddly koala counterpart. Picture a creature the size of a leopard, with coarse orange fur and a gaping maw filled with needle-sharp teeth. It waits patiently, concealed amongst the leafy branches, then launches itself with deadly accuracy onto its prey. Some say the drop bear weighs as much as 260 pounds and can stretch over 4 feet long. They claim it prefers the dense forests and woodlands of eastern Australia, where the shadows are deep and the unsuspecting are plentiful. While the drop bear is often dismissed as a hoax, a tall tale designed to give tourists a fright, the legend persists. Bushwalkers and hikers tell stories of being ambushed by these creatures, their injuries evidence of the drop bear's bloodthirsty nature. One terrified camper sleeping under the stars described the chilling moment a drop bear pounced from the darkness. The creature landed with a sickening thud, its claws tearing through his tent with a sound like ripping canvas, narrowly missing his face. He escaped with a deep gash across his arm, the scars a permanent reminder of his brush with death. Another hiker, venturing off the beaten path, stumbled upon a clearing littered with the skeletal remains of kangaroos, their bones cracked and splintered, bearing the unmistakable marks of a predator far more powerful than any known marsupial. What if these encounters are not with some oversized mutated koala, but with a creature far more ancient and fearsome? What if the creature lurking in the shadows is not Thylarctos plummetus, but the Thylacoleo itself? This powerful predator, larger than a leopard, possessed enormous claws and an incredibly strong bite. Like the drop bear of legend, the Thylacoleo was an adept climber, capable of ambushing its prey from the trees. Could this be the true origin of the drop bear myth? A terrifying reality hidden behind a playful facade? Perhaps, as the Thylacoleo's numbers dwindled and encounters became less frequent, the stories morphed and shifted. The terrifying predator of the Pleistocene became the mischievous Vegemite-hating koala of modern folklore, a way to warn unsuspecting travelers of a genuine threat lurking in the shadows while preserving the memory of a creature lost to time. Many Australian cryptids are believed to be prehistoric animals that escaped extinction, their existence hidden in the vast, unexplored wilderness. The drop bear may be one of these creatures, its legend a distorted reflection of a terrifying truth. The drop bear, whether a myth or a terrifying reality, continues to capture our imaginations. From satirical news articles to tourism campaigns, from children's books like The Drop Bears by Steve Smallman to the heart-pounding encounters in video games, this creature has become an iconic symbol of Australia's unique wildlife and its playful sense of humor. Even as recently as January 2020, a UK journalist for ITV fell victim to a drop bear prank at an Australian wildlife park, highlighting the enduring power of this legend. The Yara-ma-yha-who, our sixth Australian cryptid, lurks in the fig forests in southeastern Australia. For centuries, its grotesque form and horrifying feeding habits have plagued the sleep of those who dare venture into the Australian wilderness. Though its presence is largely confined to the Pacific coast, its existence casts a long shadow across the land. No taller than 4 feet, the Yara-ma-yha-who is a grotesque parody of a human. A bulbous, serpentine head sits atop a disproportionately small body, an almost comical sight if not for the gaping maw and the suckers that adorn its hands and feet. Unhinging like a snake's, the creature's toothless mouth hides a distensible throat and belly that can swallow a grown man whole. Reminiscent of an octopus, the suckers serve a sinister purpose, draining blood through its fingers and toes, leaving unsuspecting prey incapacitated. The thick-leaved fig trees are the Yara-ma-yha-who's favorite hunting grounds. It will lie in wait for days amongst the branches, patiently watching for a lone traveler. Perhaps a weary wanderer seeking respite from the harsh Australian sun, or a merchant hurrying home before nightfall. Children, wandering too far from the safety of their families, are particularly vulnerable to its attacks. Imagine the terror of a traveler, lost and alone, stumbling beneath the creature's perch. The forest floor, a tapestry of decaying leaves and damp earth, muffles their footsteps. A twig snaps underfoot and the traveler freezes, a prickle of unease crawling down their spine. Suddenly, the Yara-ma-yha-who strikes, dropping from the leaves with a sickening thud. Latching onto its prey with suckered hands and feet, it drains just enough blood to induce unconsciousness. The traveler crumples to the ground, the last image burned into their mind the creature's grotesque, grinning face. It then proceeds to swallow them whole, head first. A grotesque dance, accompanied by sickening gurgles and crunches, helps the meal slide down its distended throat. After a period of time, the Yara-ma-yha-who regurgitates its prey. The prey lies still, heart pounding against their ribs, feigning death in the desperate hope that the creature will lose interest. But the Yara-ma-yha-who is not so easily fooled. It pokes the prey's side with a stick. If the prey can muster the strength to run, the creature, hampered by its awkward, cockatoo-like gait, is unlikely to give chase. The true horror of the Yara-ma-yha-who lies not just in its initial attack, but in its relentless pursuit. It will swallow its prey again and again. It is said that with each cycle of swallowing and regurgitation, the victim undergoes a terrifying transformation. They become shorter, their hair falls out, and thick fur sprouts across their body until they are ultimately remade in the creature's image. The Yara-ma-yha-who is a predator that consumes not just the body, but the very identity of its victims. More than just a terrifying predator, the Yara-ma-yha-who embodies the wild, untamed heart of Australia. Sightings persist to this day. Fleeting glimpses of small, red-skinned figures dropping from trees or stalking lone travelers in the twilight hours. The Queensland Tiger, our 7th Australian cryptid, also known as the Megalong Valley Tiger, haunts the rainforests and misty mountains of northeastern Australia. This phantom feline, with stripes that ripple against its tawny coat, has inspired fear and fascination for generations. Its legend woven into the very fabric of the land. Deep within the emerald embrace of Queensland's rainforests, where sunlight struggles to pierce the dense canopy, the Queensland tiger makes its home. Aboriginal legends speak of a fierce predator, a spirit of the forest with piercing eyes and a chilling growl. Settlers, too, whisper of encounters with a creature that defies classification, a feline form both familiar and utterly alien. Reports of the Queensland tiger surged in the early 20th century. A farmer in the Atherton tablelands described a large striped cat with powerful legs and a thick tail, melting into the dense undergrowth with impossible speed. Loggers in the Daintree rainforest claimed to have seen a similar creature, its eyes glowing menacingly in the twilight as it stalked their campsite. These sightings, often accompanied by unsettling growls and the unnerving sensation of being watched, painted a picture of a predator both elusive and formidable. The Queensland tiger, known as the Yowie in some Aboriginal languages, is deeply entwined with Aboriginal dreaming narratives. It is believed to be a powerful spirit, a guardian of the rainforest, embodying the untamed essence of the land. Some stories tell of the Yowie's shape-shifting abilities, its stripes mimicking the play of light and shadow, allowing it to blend seamlessly into its surroundings. Despite countless sightings and persistent rumors, concrete evidence of the Queensland tiger remains elusive. Expeditions armed with cameras and tracking equipment have ventured into the rainforest's depths, hoping to capture definitive proof. But the Queensland tiger, if it exists, is a master of stealth, its presence hinted at only through fleeting glimpses, unsettling sounds, and the lingering feeling of unseen eyes. Even the livestock of the region seem to whisper of the creature's presence. Farmers tell of cattle and sheep vanishing without a trace, their remains bearing unusual wounds that defy conventional explanation. Could the Queensland tiger be responsible? Its predatory instincts honed over generations? Or are these incidents the work of dingoes and feral dogs, their actions magnified by fear and folklore? The Gunni, our 8th Australian cryptid, found in the misty Victorian highlands, a creature spotted by locals in the tourist town of Marysville, nestled 100 kilometers northeast of Melbourne. This creature defies classification, a wombat-like body bearing the antlers of a deer, the stripes of a tiger, and the bushy tail of a fox. There have been several reported Gunni sightings that stretch back as early as the 1860s, when gold miners venturing into the Central Highlands described encounters with a mysterious horned animal. In recent history in the 1960s, gold miners in the Marysville region claimed to have encountered it. This bizarre creature caught the public's attention in 1967 when timber workers near Camberville stumbled upon it. They claimed to have found 3 specimens. One was preserved, a unique piece of taxidermy, which was installed by local ranger Miles Stewart Howie at the Marysville Visitors Information Center. In 1999, Marysville electrician Frank Murphy reignited interest in the Gunni when he described seeing a creature with a wombat's body, a distinctive tail, and antlers before it vanished into the bush. Tragically, the flames of the 2009 Victorian bushfires consumed the taxidermied Gunni, reducing this unique specimen to ash. Some speculate the Gunni may be a descendant of the Pelorchestes, an extinct marsupial with a tapir-like snout and possibly antlers. Others believe it could be a result of genetic mutation or a hybrid. The Gunni is often described as wombat-like, though some believe it to be more closely related to the Tasmanian devil. One hypothesis suggests the antlers may have originated from a genetic predisposition to bone cancers of the skull. The Gunni is not only a subject of reported sightings but also of local folklore and legends. It is believed to have a long history in the region, possibly dating back 10,000 years, suggesting it may have been known to indigenous communities long before European settlers arrived. Legends often depict it as a shy and secretive creature with an unusual diet, said to be omnivorous, with a fondness for raw tobacco and salted meat. The Gunni has made its mark on popular culture. In the Marysville area, there were once road signs featuring the Gunni, a humorous nod to the local legend. Based on available information, the Gunni inhabits the mountainous regions near Marysville, Victoria, Australia. This area, known for its dense forests and diverse wildlife, provides a potential habitat. The rugged terrain and relative isolation could explain why it has remained elusive. The Gunni remains a creature of mystery and speculation. While its existence is yet to be scientifically proven, the reported sightings and intriguing physical description continue to fuel curiosity. Like the duck-billed platypus, once dismissed as a hoax, the Gunni challenges our understanding of the natural world. The Euroa Beast, our 9th Australian cryptid, lurks in the swamps near the town of Euroa, a picturesque settlement nestled at the foot of Victoria's Strathbogie Ranges. Today, Euroa is known for its miniature railway, cascading waterfalls, and historic tourist drives, and the Euroa Beast. This beast, a 9-meter-long predator with a bulldog-like face, yellowish-brown skin, and a dark brown belly, terrorized the swamps, sending dogs running and locals into a panic. Sightings date back to 1884, but the summer of 1890 brought with it a wave of terror as the Euroa Beast made its presence known. Its guttural roars echoed through the night, shattering the peace of the once tranquil town. This reign of terror culminated in a chilling encounter with a group of men cutting reeds in the swamp. Startled by loud splashing and snorting, they watched in horror as the reeds swayed and bent under the movement of something enormous. One man, braver than the rest, returned the next day and witnessed the creature's hairy, crocodile-like head emerge from the water. The escalating reports prompted Melbourne Zoo to dispatch a specialist, a monster catcher, equipped with a giant net. Enlisting the help of 40 local men, he organized a multi-day search party. Though they discovered giant tracks in the swamp, the elusive beast evaded capture. A thick, powerful tail was spotted extending from under a log, but the creature slipped away before it could be caught. But even though the beast seemingly vanished after the 1890s, locals know that it's out there, watching, waiting for the moment to strike again. And it seems their fears may be well-founded. Whispers of recent sightings have begun to circulate, chilling accounts of a monstrous shape moving through the reeds, its eyes glowing in the darkness. Speculation about the beast's origins abounds. Some theorized it may have been a Pedipes finiae, an ancient crocodile-shaped tetrapod, though this species was far smaller than the behemoth described by witnesses. Others suggest it could have been an oversized reptile. The detailed physical descriptions, coupled with the discovery of large tracks, suggest truth to the reports. The dense vegetation of the Euroa swamps provided an ideal hiding place, contributing to its elusiveness. In the land of hopping marsupials, the Catguru, our 10th Australian cryptid, defies expectations with its feline grace. This creature, a predator that blends the familiar with the utterly bizarre, has startled and mystified those who have encountered it in the bushlands north of Sydney. First recorded in 2015, the Catguru, with its small wallaby-like frame, slinks through the undergrowth with the predatory movements of a jungle cat, its glowing eyes piercing the darkness. Grainy footage, shot in the fading light of dusk, offers a tantalizing glimpse of the Catguru as it emerges from the shadows before it melts back into the undergrowth, leaving behind only a whisper of its presence. Experts have struggled to identify the Catguru. Possums and tree kangaroos have been ruled out due to its distinctive anatomy and behavior. Some suggest it could be a previously unidentified species or a rare genetic mutation. Others whisper that the Catguru is not merely an unknown species, but something more sinister, a creature that has crossed over from another dimension, or a genetic experiment gone wrong. Local reports add to the intrigue. Unusually large tracks, along with deep parallel claw marks, have been found scored into tree trunks. Farmers have noted unexplained injuries to their livestock, lacerations with an unusual pattern that seem to defy the capabilities of known predators. At night, residents claim to hear low growls echoing through the bushland, attributing them to the Catguru's presence. Despite multiple searches, the creature remains elusive, its shadowy form slipping through the dense undergrowth, leaving behind only whispers and speculation. The Catguru, with its unsettling blend of the familiar and the bizarre, stands as a stark reminder that even in the well-trodden landscapes of our world, mysteries still lurk, waiting to be uncovered. Perhaps one day the Catguru will step out of the shadows and reveal its secrets, but until then, it remains a tantalizing mystery, a creature that challenges our understanding of the natural world and reminds us that the wilderness still holds many secrets. The unknown isn't distant here. It hangs in the outback winds, hides in the shadowed edges of the rainforest, and waits for you in the eerie silence of the billabong. The Burrunjor, Bunyip, the Yowie are living remnants of a land that refuses to surrender all its secrets. Ancient rock art depicts them, and those who dare to explore the outback see them. DeadNet Studios is out, but the mystery remains, mate. Tread lightly, watch the skies, and never let the shadows out of your sight. In Australia, the unseen is closer than you think, and it might be hunting you. Good day, mate.
In the shadow untamed. With the video's end, we take a little rest. They find the shackles every best.